What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Clocks Running, the podcast for everything flag football officials. I'm your host, Ant, and we got a brand new intro. It's not that boring counting down clock anymore, so that's exciting stuff. So let's get right into the show. This is going to be a lot of fun tonight. First and foremost, let me just bring the only guy still rocking a front mullet after Labor Day, Jacob.
Hey,
What
the
up,
front
man?
mullet. What's up? The front mullet never goes away, man. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
year
So
round thing.
all right, cool. Hey, do you ever like put it up into like a man bun, but like unicorn style?
No, man. I don't do that. I mean, my daughter tries to, but it's we don't do that.
Yeah. All right, man. So, hey, it's just you and me talking right now, okay? Don't worry about the millions at home listening, okay? Just you and me having a conversation, but I need an answer from you, all right?
Okay, what?
All right, all right. So I know we brought this up before, but I think you were just a little under pressure because Coop and Chun were right there, and they were waiting for your answer. But tonight, I really need to hear from you. Who is better in flag football? Okay, Florida or Texas? I just
Of course,
who
it's
is
gonna be.
better?
Hey, that's we're not even gonna answer that tonight. We entertained that a while ago. We're just gonna keep on rolling. I'm not going back through that again.
Okay, so you're sticking with Florida, is what it sounds like.
That's not what I said.
All right. So the reason I'm asking that is we've got two amazing guests tonight. I think they just got off. They might still be in the airport. Just got off the plane from Finland. They were a little busy over there, but they're going to tell us all about that. So let's bring them on. George and Pat. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm
What's up,
doing
guys?
well.
All right, so I just want to be clear with you guys that a few weeks ago I asked Jacob very specifically when Coop and Sean, Coop and Sean were on the episode with us. I said, "Who is better in flag football overall? Players, men's, women's, all of it." And Jacob said Florida is better.
Is
So
that what I
I,
said?
that's what
That's
you
not
said.
what I said.
Just want to bring you guys into this. First and foremost, when we have a new guest on, we just like to give you the opportunity to kind of talk and share your origin story. Just like the Avengers have origin stories, everybody's got an origin story of how they got into flag football. So, Pat, let's start with you.
I played tackle football through high school, all the way up, little league, all the way up through high school. Then went to SMU. Played some. I wouldn't say played, but I was there on the team. We'll say. And then started playing intramurals after that and flag football. Really loved the game. Found out about 4-on-4 after playing 8-on-8 for quite a while in Texas. I didn't even know 4-on-4 was a thing, but then started taking that up. Really realized that that was more my style of game. I enjoyed it more. I wasn't really a running quarterback. I was a passing quarterback. So started learning that game and got better and better at that game. And that's where my flag strength was 4-on-4. And then 5-on-5 came around, and obviously that game kind of grew quite a bit. But it wasn't really a big thing until the end of my career. 5-on-5 was more of a new game to me, I guess I'd say. But it's a great game. It's just a little different than 4-on-4. The extra player on the same size field, changes things quite a bit. Gives the defense a better of a chance, though, unless you just have outright straight 3 or 4 horses that can just man their man. 4-on-4 can be a difficult game. But that's pretty much my history and where it comes from.
Gotcha. Okay, and George, how about you?
Similar. It's similar to Pat's. I mean, not football wise. I played college baseball. I was a pitcher. So after I finished and I graduated from college, I always wanted to play flag, and 4-on-4 air it out was introduced in Miami. So I saw the tournament happening. It was a 4-on-4 tournament. I really liked it. And then I started playing with my uncle, which was 10 months older than me. He always played. He played college football and he played high school football with all his friends. And I saw them playing, and I was playing with my baseball guys. And I saw them, and I'm like, man, I'm a better quarterback than that guy. And then I started playing with them. And then from there, we built our team, which our team was Sting, and it just went off from there. So I played flag football once I graduated from college, and it was basically in Florida. 4-on-4 was the only game. Like 5-on-5 wasn't a sport before. It was 4-on-4. So we played 4-on-4 across the board. When Air It Out came, it was the most popular, I guess, flag football tournament that there was. So that's what we basically focused on playing. So 5-on-5 for me, the first time I ever played 5-on-5 was actually when they recruited me to play for the USA national team. First time I stepped foot on the field, I'm like, okay, I've never played 5-on-5 before. I've only played fours. So I basically converted the 5-on-5 game to a 4-on-4 game. I had one drop back and just 3 guys run out to make it just more comfortable for me. But 5-on-5 wasn't as popular as it is now. That's like the main sport to play across in the United States, but most across the entire world is 5-on-5 game.
All right. So George, did you ever play Pat in 4-on-4, or did your guys' careers kind of miss each other?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first time I played Pat was in Roswell. Show Me the Money. I don't know if we played before. I know we played in tournaments before in Texas and all that. So I can't remember. Pat probably might have a better recollection of that. But yeah, we've crossed paths before. Let's put it that way. So. But it was very challenging because I believe Pat had one of the top teams from Dallas during that time, and I felt in my team from Miami was one of the top teams in Florida. So we were always ready to clash. I believe that first time I think I remember playing Pat or getting ready to play Pat was in Roswell. That the year before there wasn't a Florida team that went to Roswell, and Pat they went up there and they won the championship there. So I knew when we were going, my first year, I was like, okay, we're going, and we have to go through the Dallas team that won the tournament, and we actually ended up playing them in the semifinals of that year.
I think
Gotcha.
y'all smoked us that year, didn't you? That year?
I didn't want to say that, but yes, actually we
that,
did.
yeah, no, they beat us. They beat us by quite a few points. But I think George and I had some battles back and forth. If George and I were in the tournament for the most part, I would feel like it would be us or them winning the championship. I mean, MLB was not as big of a deal by the time I got to be really, really good, and George was still really good, but they played each other at home. And there were some other teams, all TDs and stuff like that. But for the most part, if George and I were in the tournament, one of us were probably going to win it. It just depended on who played better that day because we had some battles, and he probably won more than I did, to be honest. I don't know, but he had a better team at the beginning. We didn't really get good until later in Goose Cruise and Sting's careers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And speaking of that, I grew up in Colorado, played flag football out there, and there's a guy that ran the Rockers. I don't know if you guys know the Denver Rockers at all, but his name's Pat as well, quarterback. Now he would always, every time he won a championship, he had a number. I mean, it would be 275 championships in his career, or whatever that number was, and there was nobody to fact check it. We didn't know if that was accurate or not. But we just had to trust. I mean, this guy had been playing forever. So, Pat, how many championships, do you think that you have had?
I don't really know how many championships I have. I know I have 3 national championships, 3 legitimate championships. But as far as that guy from Denver, he never beat me, and I played him several times. So I can personally vouch for either eliminating him from the tournament or not losing to him. So whatever he won, I won more. So if he won 275, put me down for 276.
Okay, George, how about you? You have a number in the back of your head? You kept track?
You know what? I won a good amount, but not as, I guess, our style of tournaments back in the day. There was maybe 1 or 2 tournaments a year that were like a national championship. Now I feel like there's a national championship every other week or every other month type thing. And then when you play in a national championship, you play in 7 different styles. So you can win 7 national championships in one weekend. So they watered it down. But before, there was maybe 2 national, like before USA Flag, I know it was USFTL, and that was like the granddaddy of them all, and then USA Flag just went above and beyond and made it even better. But during USFTL, I think I've won like 5 or 6 of national championships in 4-man. And then the Roswell Show Me the Money one. I think we won 2 or 3 of those. There was some in Vegas as well as Fast Action that we won 2 or 3 of those, and Air It Outs and Let It Flies. So I mean, I would say over 12 to 15, 16, which nowadays you do that in 1 year. So it really it's watered down. But I mean, yeah, it was a different style. It was a different time back in. But I mean, I like where football is right now, and flag football is right now on both on the men and women's side of the game. So it's growing, it's getting better. The talent's getting stronger and faster, and I like where it's moving.
George got to play against Brett Favre on ESPN in the Air It Out Championship. Did y'all know that? Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know. I'm going to look up on YouTube after this.
It wasn't Brett Favre, but yeah, in Air It Out back in the day,
I thought it was.
When there was an NFL city, they had a tournament in that city, and if you would win the tournament, there would be easily in the pro division 80 to 100 teams battling for that one spot. So you would play in just that one division, you would probably play like 12, 13 games in that weekend. The winner represented that team, so they will go to the White World of Sports Complex in January, and they represented that team. So the winner of every city tournament would battle for one winner. And then the winner of that would play in ABC Wide World of Sports on TV against the NFL players. So when we won, we played Jeff Hostetler, Terrell Davis, Eddie Kinnison, Carnell Lake, Jimmy Smith. So they had a good, an all-star team, overall. That was when Jeff Hostetler got traded from the Raiders. So we played them in the and I guess, after winning the championship, that was, the bonus to play against them. So that was,
did you beat them?
It was fun. Actually, we didn't beat them. They had to cut the game more like a half type thing because it was raining and Jeff Hostetler had to catch a flight. And since we were running behind because of lightning delays, so they cut it short, the game. So we lost, it was, I think, 17-9 or something like that, or 19-9, something like that. It was 12-9, and then they scored in the last play of the game just to make it 17 or 18-9, something like that. But it was fun. It was great. Yeah. And since I was young at the first, they mic'd me, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm mic'd. And when I would get upset, I would curse in Spanish every time I was angry. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't play my way. I have to control myself now. And it was different, but it was a great experience.
I just don't understand how Terrell Davis is not getting a flag guard every time he gets the ball. Like, how was he successful in flag football?
Yeah, he struggled at first. Like, they all struggled because they didn't know the rules. They didn't know the game. So, like, the first drive, Jeff Hostetler got sacked for a safety. Like, he thought he had pocket presence or something, and our rusher got there in 2 seconds and pulled his flag. He's like, what happened? It was like, yep, he got sacked. So
I remember going back and watching
lucky.
the old, those videos.
Yeah,
you gotta watch it. It takes some time. Yeah.
Yeah, they scored on us on a Hail Mary because they couldn't move the ball, so they just threw a Hail Mary. The ball got tipped in the air, and they scored. So they got lucky plays, and that's how they ended up scoring a lot of times. But still, it was a great experience. You always felt like, the Joes versus pros, you always wanted to play against them, and tell them that, we're the pros when it comes to flag because this is our game, and you wanted to show them that, that we're athletes as well. So that was a good time while it lasted, having the Air It Out and those type of tournaments.
So, Pat, George kind of mentioned, things being watered down now. Do you feel like there's like players that you interact with today that you're around that there's some comparisons where they're going to be like how it is with the NBA where they say, well, yeah, Bill Russell won all these championships, but there was nobody in the league. Do you think it's the same kind of comparison with flag football?
I think it's similar. I think it depends on which championships you say they won, because if you win, I don't know, some little national or whatever, and nobody was there, yeah, I think that there's a legitimate argument for, okay, that's watered down because you're playing teams that aren't there. But if you win Tampa or you win, I guess, San Antonio, which used to be Arlington or something like that, the big ones, I think those are legitimate championships. But if you're winning, I don't know, one of the little regional ones or something, then you just stop. You're not a national champion. I mean, you are, but you're not. So yeah, I guess there's some water down there, but yeah, beat the best of the best in Tampa or whichever tournament it is. Come Orlando or San Antonio or even Nashville. Nashville was probably a good tournament. I
It
wasn't there,
was.
but yeah. So if you win one of those, you got a legitimate argument. But if you're winning one of the little regionals, I would not call you a national champion, no, because I won. I don't know 10 of those $1,000 tournaments whenever I was in my prime too. But that's not a champion. I mean, it's a championship, but it's not a national championship.
What do you think is the biggest difference between like your guys' era and flag football now as far as players go? Is it the speed? Is it athleticism? What do you think?
No, the biggest difference for me is guys from Texas and Florida and Carolinas and California. They all play together. It's much more mixed. I guess the fact that people can be friends on Facebook and things like that now, where they can hook up and have a plan and get together much easier. We didn't do that. It was Dallas versus Miami essentially when I was playing George. George didn't even hook up with wet and dirty guys or they were called dirty birds back then or whatever. He didn't hook up with guys from Tampa for the most part. It was very rare for us to play with anybody from Houston or San Antonio. It was just Dallas versus Miami. It was more sectional. Like your team was from where it was from, and it's different now. You play. There's guys from everywhere. I mean, it's like Team USA could be YTG, because it's guys from everywhere. They're all on the same team from whichever state it is.
Yeah. George, you agree with that, or you think there's other differences?
No, no, I definitely agree. I mean, the style of game has changed as well, but also because of the rules. Like before, when we would play 4-on-4, it was basic. There was no throwbacks. There was no, there was no jumping. There was no pitches. There was no laterals. It was basic. You throw the ball across the line of scrimmage, you keep running, they pull your flag, you keep going. So it was different. Now you have throwbacks, pitches, laterals. I call it the circus sometimes. Because you always have a chance to score because the ball's always live. So it's different, but the athlete, the way they do the dip now, that dip never existed back in my day. You just turn your hips, you would run, you jump and everything, but now there's so much to it. They've changed, the game to make it more difficult. Even the flag pulling is more difficult. So the hand-eye coordination and everything, the game is faster now, I think, than it was before. But Pat was on point. Yeah, like most of the times you played with the people in your city, and you practiced with them, and you got, you wanted to win with your guys when it came to that. In Florida, we had a humongous tournament every year against Jacksonville. So it was Miami versus Jacksonville. We called it North versus South. And we would meet in Orlando or Tampa, and you get 10 pro teams from both sides. We played everybody once, just like the Davis Cup. You win, you get a point for your team. And then the top two teams at the end play for 10 points for bragging rights. Who was the best city that had flag football and all that. So it was a lot of fun during that time. But things have changed so much now that it can't. Now you could probably do an all Florida versus an all Dallas type thing, but because now Tampa is in the picture with the top talent, I think, when it comes to flag football, just as Jacksonville and Miami as well. So, but I mean, yeah, but the game has changed, but I think it's changed in a good way.
So, Jacob, I don't know if you realize this, but never once did they mention anything about flag football in North Carolina. Is that?
And that's okay. North Carolina was primarily a contact area, so I mean, you would have tournaments up and down, like between North Carolina, Virginia, the DMV area. We didn't venture too far out. Only I can count on one hand how many teams would go out to Roswell or go travel outside of the Carolinas and the East Coast, aside from going to Orlando or to Florida each year.
Well, it's hard to get the whole team on the horse and buggy and travel anywhere outside of, outside of that little area.
You know how hard it is to get 3 wagons to go all in the same direction at one time. So just in case you guys don't realize, Ant doesn't believe in North Carolina we have electricity. Running water is a prime thing here, according to him. So,
Hey,
Yeah, but hey,
I will give credit to Bex Plus One. They're always good, no matter if it's contact or non-contact. Those
yeah,
dudes can get it done against the best of the best. So they probably should play the game that we play a little bit more. I know that they love the contact game, but they're really good at the non-contact, so they need to try and focus on that a little bit more, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what have they done lately, right, Jacob?
Oh, here we go. Here we go. No, you're right. I mean, the last couple major tournaments, it's been a DMV team that's won, so or
That's
YTG.
right. Yeah, true. Pat, did you mess with contact at all, or was that just not happening in any tournaments you were in?
Honestly, I did. I played USFTL, and we played the number 1 seed. I can't remember what their team name was. We played them, and we beat the crap out of them. What was their team, Jacob, back in the day?
Judah, RDU.
No, RDU Assault. That's who it was.
Yeah,
and we beat them bad in their own game because we played non-contact. I just lined up and was like, nobody block. Let them come on. I'm just going to read the defense and throw the ball. And they were sending 2 at me, which was a mistake to begin with because I wasn't running anyway. But I would send just a dart left, a dart right, a square in, and a post, and then somebody was open on every play. And they were freaking out, yelling at each other and everything. We ended up beating them. But I was focused on 4-man that year, trying to beat George or somebody else from our group. And I gave up. I had to forfeit my game when it came to the playoffs because we were focused on 4-man non-contact instead of 5-man contact. I should have played 5-man contact because I probably would have had a better chance to win that one. But no, we lost because I forfeited my playoff game.
I gotcha. So I just want to kind of shift this into the direction of rule books. I know you guys have been all over the place. You guys travel. So I'll give a perfect example. So when I was officiating in Southern California, I don't know how familiar you guys are with the Tough organization. I have no problem calling them out. But if you guys want to keep the names of the leagues out of that, we can do that. But with Tough, they kind of dabble a little bit in contact and non-contact, and so they have this rule where the snap is live. And essentially, the rusher and the quarterback can both go for that ball if the quarterback does, muffs it or doesn't handle it, or it's a low snap or something like that. So what'll happen a lot is the rusher dives straight for it. Quarterback gets his legs taken out of it. Every time that happened, I was like, why is this a rule? Why is this allowed? It just never made any sense to me. I just felt like it was dangerous and in every situation. So George, starting with you, what is just the craziest rule you have seen in a rule book?
So before I go there, you're saying that's a live fumble?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, that's crazy. Yeah. Okay, that's crazy. No, if I see a rusher coming to me, I'll kick the ball. Okay.
Yeah.
Kick the ball. Forget that. We're punting. But well, the rules are a little different in the IFAF. Some rules are different. I know we're always saying the contact is minimal. So there's something that you blow on someone and you just barely touch and they call a flag for contact and all that. Even though this year I felt that the refs did a really good job when it came to contact and all that. I think they did a good job, but I know they call it more strict here than they ever do in the States. But the rule that I always frustrate me when it comes to international play is if the snap goes over the quarterback's head, the ball goes back to the line of scrimmage and it's just a loss of down. So there's no safety, there's no yards lost. It's just a loss of down, and go back and do the down again from the same spot.
Wow.
That for me drives me crazy.
It's and the reasoning behind it is because possession never changed, so they just go back to who had the possession. Yeah. Okay. Pat, how about you?
Strangest rule. I'm going to give one of my directors credit for this because I play in his local league in pick 6. If you get there's 2 of them I'm going to name. If you get a first down in 2 plays, you get 4 plays to score. So that's one. And if this one I kind of like, but if you intercept the ball on defense and you run it back all the way for a pick 6 without pitching the ball to anybody else, it's a pick 8. So it's a different rule there too. So that's 2 of Chun's rules. However, back to the international rules George was talking about. My biggest problem is the flopping thing. I think you're encouraging basketball nonsense and soccer nonsense where they fake a foul, and you're encouraging stuff to not not be actual contact or not be real, and people are flopping. And that's the part that I hate the most about international football is the fact that guys flop and they get the call, and it just takes me right back to basketball and soccer, and where guys are doing that crap on purpose, and they know what they're doing, and then they get the call because you can't really tell if they were doing it on purpose, but you know they were, and they know they were, and then when they get up, they're happy to celebrate that they got the penalty they wanted, and that's my biggest problem with that is just play football, but it is what it is.
Did you see a lot of that this past week?
Oh God,
Oh
yeah.
Even outside of y'all's games, yeah.
Yeah, we had to train our guys, like especially like in our championship game. We've noticed the quarterback for Austria was getting maybe at least one call a game for roughing the
Two.
passer, and we had 1 to 2 a game. So he would, anytime the rusher would get close and pull a flag, like he would just fall back or like trip over himself to try and get the call, and he would get it. So I would tell him, you got to be careful. Same thing with our offensive players. They're trying to close you in, and then once you get close to them and they pull a flag, they're going to drop back and jump to get the call. So I rather you run out of bounds or just take a knee or do something, because we're trying to play to their schemes. So that's something that we talked to them a lot about, because I know in their international play they do that a lot. That's their style of game. So that was something. But you know what? Before there was one more. Sorry to cut you off. There was one crazy rule, and it happened to be, of course, in Dallas. I win the game, and I think the game is over, and they're like, "Wait a minute, you got 4 more plays." And I'm like, "There's no time left." I think there's 4 more plays. The time is over. We won, and we end up losing.
So hey, I got to bring up another one from Pick Six, and Sean was the one that told me about this. So apparently, there's something about if everybody on your team is not in the same jersey, you have to forfeit the game.
No, the other team gets to start with 12 points.
Okay, so he lost the championship because one of his players had a hoodie over their jersey. And so Corey Webb started with 12 points, and that's what was the difference.
Dude, that's a true rule. I played a team, and they took the 12 points, and I said, all right, if you're doing that, I'm going to run up the score. I'm going to be and I literally called timeouts at the end of the game, and I was scoring touchdowns and going for 2, and ended up murdering them by like 30-something points because I was proving a point. I was like, okay, you want to do that? That's cool. No problem. Yeah, take your 12 points. Beat them like 40-something to 12. I was like, all right, let's do that. And, I wasn't even in that kind of a mood. I was kind of wanting to have fun and just enjoy football. But you're going to take 12 points because this guy has an off-green shirt compared to our green or whatever? Okay, all right, I'm going to show you what 12 points is. Yeah, that really fired me up.
Yeah. Jacob, how about you? What's the craziest rule you've heard?
The weirdest thing I played in, like, it was a local tournament. The guys kind of just slapped it together, but they gave a 10-second pass clock with you couldn't rush the quarterback. The guys had across the board, games were like 50 to 46. I mean, it was all constantly, and they were like, I don't understand why these scores are so high. I told them, I was like, I do. You're giving guys 3 lifetimes to throw the ball.
Yeah, that's worse than 4 downs in international play. That's terrible.
Yeah.
That was a one and done.
Wow. All right. So speaking of international play, let's get into it a little bit. So just Pat, talk to me about the biggest differences besides illegal contact between international and what you see in the United States.
The 4 downs is a huge factor as far as the offense just being very difficult to stop. That's the thing I have to preach to my defensive guys. Look, man, they got a free down. So somehow or another, we have to get a pass breakup, a sack, an incompletion, something to where we're at 3 downs. Because if we can get to 3 downs, now we're playing our type of football, So the 4 downs was kind of a mistake, not a mistake, but a difficult way to coach our guys defensively. So that's one big thing. The flopping's a big difference. But I mean, overall, I really do love the game. I love how professional they make it seem, and everything's lined up. Everybody lines up. We go on the field. It's just the presentation of it is great, but the not giving the defense a chance to get stops with the 4 downs is tough, and then not being able to commit any contact penalties is tough. So the biggest difference for me is that they just don't give the defense any kind of chance to succeed, and they're okay with it. I think they like the 50-40 score, to be honest.
Yeah. No, for sure. George, what do you think? Biggest difference?
I mean, yeah, that's in international play. Like they cater everything to the offensive side, and then the reason why we're so successful is because we're used to playing the same style of game but with 3 downs. So giving us that 4th down is an extra bonus, So it's a bigger challenge for the defensive side of the ball, and I think our guys accepted the challenge when it came to that. But it's just the games seem way longer. The way the game goes, it takes longer in the process when it comes to that. But no, I mean, I think Pat, really spoke well about that part of when it comes to international play than from our style of game in the States.
George, how much do you think the regulating the ball being deflated and not deflated factors in?
Oh, an international play, that ball is a
Yeah.
brick. Oh my goodness. Pat and I were warming up every time, and it's like, man, my hand hurts from catching the ball. We're not used to throwing it like that at 13 pounds or 12 pounds or however it has the regulated. But I mean, that's, I guess, they wanted to keep it similar to like the NFL and college. So they have to do it that way. So everyone has to play like that. I know most of the guys in the States aren't used to that because they're used to Tom Brady balls a lot flatter than what normally is. So it's an adjustment, it's a change, it's a difference. But I mean, if that's what the standards that we have to go with, we have to. But I would prefer if they would take some air out of it because those footballs are extremely hard to catch and throw.
Yeah,
Pat,
you don't realize how difficult it is until you actually play with a football that is completely aired up like that and try and catch it and throw it. It's different. Like it's very, very difficult to get used to that, I guess, when you're used to actually having a football. It doesn't have to be completely flat, but just a little less air where you can, compress the ball a little bit when you throw it. It makes a big difference, and you don't even realize how much of a problem that is until you're trying to manage it. It's a big factor, I think. And I think if we had to do that in the States, people would be like it would affect their throwing, put it that way.
Yeah.
yeah. Jacob, you think logistically that is ever going to be possible to regulate the air in the ball?
Short answer, no. I mean, let me rephrase that. Short answer, yes. There's a way to do it. It would be very difficult. I mean, you would essentially have to provide footballs for the tournaments, and have somebody keep a constant eye on it, and check in between games. Probably have a rotation or something. There's a way to do it, but it would be very difficult and very, very tedious for somebody to have to handle.
Yeah. Okay. So just continuing on with Finland, George, what opponent do you think surprised you the most that you guys went against?
Well, the Swiss had an amazing tournament. They had the toughest bracket coming out of there because they went and they beat Panama, they beat Canada, then they had to face us, and then after that they faced Mexico. So they played probably 4 top 8 teams on one side of the bracket, and I think this is the first time they medaled. So they had a good game plan, and people underestimated them because they've never seen them go that far. So we always prepared and planned for Italy because we played them in the World Games. With Luke at quarterback, it was that's a very tough offense. We game plan for Mexico because all their schemes and their dropbacks and all their game plan is not easy to adjust to. So those are 2 teams that, since we played them in championships before, we expected them to face them again when it came to that. We Pat and myself looked at a lot of film when we were there because Germany was, another contender that was going to be there. Austria as we played, even Panama, but we never got to face Panama. But for me, Swiss was a surprising one, and I was very happy that they were able to medal and get bronze from there. But yeah, they had a tough side of the bracket that they came out of.
Yeah, how tall was that rusher from Germany? I mean, that dude looked like he was 6'8".
He is. I think he
Yeah,
actually
that's
is.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 I mean, and still a little bit of speed to him. I mean, it wasn't like it was all his height. He was getting back there pretty quick.
Yeah, no. As far as pocket passers like George, myself, Eric Holiday, guys that stand there and throw the ball, he poses a problem. Luke, the Italian quarterback, he poses a problem for him because once he gets within 3 yards of you, you better start changing your arm angles or something because I mean he is covering some ground with his arms. Like his reach and ability to cover zones and stuff, it's tough. So he's very effective when he gets close to you. Obviously he does not want to match up with us because it's a disadvantage for him trying to chase Hoosh or Pablo or Velt. But as far as a pocket passer, he is prototypical for causing problems for a pocket passer.
For sure. Pat, you agree with George that the Swiss was the biggest surprise, or was there someone else?
Yeah, I think the Swiss absolutely were the biggest surprise for us. I didn't expect them to beat Panama or Canada, and then they beat Mexico after beating us. So, but I will give them credit; they play really well together on defense. Like, I don't know, like just a group of friends. It seems like they're always on the same page. They're not all running 4-4s, but as far as being where they're supposed to be and running their schemes really well, they do really well with that. Another team that surprised me, I didn't know enough about them, but Spain has a 19-year-old quarterback, and those guys really surprised me as well. They played really well together, and I respect their team and the way they play together.
Gotcha. Jacob, I just put you on the hot seat real quick. I heard Pat mention three names. So in a straight line race, who you got? Hoosh, Bell, or Pablo?
You want me to
Ooh.
go with that, or one of the 13 experts who answered your poll question? I don't know, man. Like straight line. I'd have to see it happen, to be able to form an opinion. They're all very quick. They have great agility. So we don't get to see just that true straight line speed. I mean, George and Pat probably have at one of the practices. So they could probably answer that a lot better than I could. I don't know. I
Hey,
might take Hoosh just to play it safe.
I don't think it's Hoosh. I think it's Pablo Revelt. But I'll tell y'all this: they put these catapult gears on our guys, and they're running. And Laval on a post route ran 22.3 miles an hour.
Wow,
That's flying. So
that's
everybody
awesome.
that's like, "Oh, you guys aren't this, that, or whatever," that's NFL speed right there. So that's something to be able to hang their hat on. That's fast, fast.
I do have a question because George brought something up a little bit ago when he was talking about the differences. He talked about the time differences in the games and stuff. Did you guys notice? Because here in the States we play a 24-minute game. It's 2 possessions and it's done. Did you guys notice, even from the American players, like any kind of endurance issues, anything like people getting gassed about how long the games were? Even having you guys had a 2-minute warning each half.
We had a 2 minute warning. We had two timeouts per half. It was a pro clock. So I think we did a good job overall on both sides, offense and defense, that we kept switching players. So on the
Right.
offensive side of the ball, if someone went for a deep pass, he just took himself out. Someone came in. So that was a good switch. I know Pat, at certain drives or at the half, we switched corners and all that. The one that we were always trying to worry about was Captain Caveman, which was Rush King. That he always wants to go and not stop. And I was like, bro,
Yeah.
listen, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. We need you. Rush 2 times, take yourself out. Because we need you for the key downs and for the bigger picture at the end. So he came. He even sometimes came out and say, hey, switch me up. Bring him. When we switch and we put Velt in, we put Laval in. Sometimes even Zay rush. So we switched it and
Mhm.
mixed it up. But yeah, I mean, the hardest one would be the rusher because the quarterback's sometimes lined up 15 yards back, plus
Right.
the 7 yards. He's having a 22-yard sprint every time, So, but I think they were all in shape. They were ready for the competition, and I don't think anyone was winded like that. The games they weren't back to back, So we had a lot of gap in between for them to rest. And our trainers did a great job, taking care of them, and getting them ready. And they were all staying hydrated. So I think they were ready.
Well, good.
Those guys are actually used to playing 5-6 games in a day too. So they're toned up for that kind of a game. I don't know if the international guys are, but I know our guys, they're used to our tournaments and stuff like that where they're playing several styles and several games a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, George, I think I remember the scene during the first day of games where you're probably yelling at the Rush King because he's like this, he's gassed, and you're like, take a break, man. Like,
we have to, because I know, like, he has a goal. He had a goal in mind from the get go, and he wanted to make sure. But we kept talking to him. I go, listen, it's 4-day tournament. It's not gonna be all done in one day. But as he went along, he realized it, and he even took himself out. So it was good. But yeah, at first I know he wanted to stay in it for every down. He didn't want to miss one.
Yeah, for sure. So Pat, what do you think it was different about this event from the other international events you've been a part
of? The weather was amazing. So first thing, Finland. August in Finland, if you're going to go, yeah, that's where you want to go. 55 to 75, unbelievable temperatures. We got lucky we didn't have any rain or any kind of precipitation, so everything temperature-wise was great. Weather-wise was great. The biggest thing for me was really just 32 teams. We haven't played in a situation where we had 32 teams, and we haven't played where we've had more than 4 to 5 good teams. So there was legitimately 10 pretty good teams, and maybe even 12. There was quite a few good teams from around the world there. So that was the biggest thing for me, is just being able to see all these different countries and all these teams getting better, and just getting to see them get. I mean, we had a Cameroon did their first experience in playing flag. They weren't ready for it, but they still got to experience it. They got to see what they need to do to improve, and then maybe at the next one they'll be better than they were this time. So, it was great just seeing all the teams for me.
Yeah, and George, I heard that for you the best part of this event was the food. Is that right?
Hey, man.
My wife told me I cannot talk about the food anymore. Every time I would call her, she's like, if you're going to talk about the food, just hang up right now. We're not talking about it. It was a rough experience.
It was awful. It was awful. It was terrible. And that's the one they need to work on. Finland needs to work on their food. They need to visit the Texas State Fair or something. No fried chicken. No, yeah, it was so bad.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right, Jacob, you dodged the question earlier. I got to get an answer out of you, but I'm going to set up the scenario, okay? So I'm giving George the men's team offense and the women's team defense. And I'm giving Pat the men's team defense and the women's team offense. Co-ed game. Who you got, George or Pat?
It's going to be a 0-0 tie. That's what we're going to leave it at.
I like this. Nobody gave me this scenario. I like this. So,
right. Let me make sure I got this right. So it's George's offense with the men's team offense with the ladies defense, and then Pat's got the ladies offense and the men's defense.
Yeah.
This is already an offensive game. I don't know what the score would be, though. I give it to I'd say George's team, but it's not going to be by much.
That's fair.
It's going to be a one-score game. I'll say that. It's going to be a one-score game. George's team is going to win.
So I get V, though. I get V, the quarterback.
You've worked with for quite a while.
And I get 9 points every time she throws a touchdown.
Correct.
And George gets 6.
No, sir. It's international play.
No.
You go basic like that. Sorry.
No, this is co-ed. This is co-ed. That's the way it is, homie. I get V.
Rules co-ed.
Wait. Okay, so we can mix the players. Is that what you're saying? It's not just straight offense versus straight.
I said a co-ed game.
So we can. Okay, all right. My bad.
Oh, if it's a co-ed game, I'll give you the 8 points. We're gonna score all the time. Remember, Pat. Remember, you can't stop the rain.
I still take my answer. Take my answer originally.
I don't know. We could play this game. We could absolutely play this game. I get 9 points. So every time you score 3 touchdowns, I score 2. We're tied. And I get bonus points when she throws extra points.
That's fine. But remember, I can still bring the girls in, and Hoosh can run all the way to the 1 with Vel and Pablo, and then we'll score with the girls, and we'll still get the 8 points. So you lose by 18, 20 points against us. I'm sorry.
Can I have Laval? Can I have Laval?
Sir, did you see the rules? My offense and defense, all right? Follow.
Yeah, I set the parameters pretty clear.
This is
look, man. Flag football is all a gray area. It's all about figuring out the grays.
We could make this game happen, though. I like this idea.
For sure.
Please make it happen and let me do the play-by-play.
That'd be fun.
All right, cool. Well, I appreciate you guys just sharing, a little bit of different aspects of Finland and the experiences. By the way, guys, congratulations. Pat, you got your gold medal on? There it is.
There we go.
There we go. Nice. Cool. So I just, in this show, we always take time to just review rules. And so, Jacob, I want to get a little specific on something real quick. If you can just talk about what your expectations are for officials in communicating the clock to the teams on the field.
All right. So generally,
I know where this is going, and you're an a-hole. But go ahead.
So as a general rule, as we're going through the half, try to keep the teams informed each possession where they're at with time. And and anytime they're asking for time, let them know where they're at. When we get to let's keep it. We'll use small ball as the primary format or formats. When you get to the 1 minute warning, every play you're calling out time. You're letting them know if the clock's rolling. You're letting them know if the clock's stopped. You're letting them know where they're at. You can at the 1 minute warning let them know how many timeouts they have. You're giving them all the information they need. That way they're not constantly asking. You guys should be able, or officials should be able to constantly tell them what's going on.
Yeah, so I got an example for you. Yeah, if you start a play and it's second down, actually first down, we'll say we're at the 12-yard line. 17 seconds left. You throw an 8-yard curl. You get to like the 3-yard line. The ball's set down, whatever. You feel like you probably have maybe 7-8 seconds. So you look over the refs, knowing you're about to score and win the game because you want to run the clock out and give them maybe 1 or 2 seconds left on the game when you score. And you look over the ref and you're like, hey, ref, how much time do I have? And his answer is seconds. Not how many seconds, just the word seconds. And he looks at you and legitimately says seconds. You're like, okay, how many? How many seconds? And then he goes, ball game. What? Like, I mean, I could have downed the ball. I could have snapped the ball. I could have done anything. He could have given me a 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 4, 3, anything but seconds. Just have a number. I don't even care if the ref's lying. Tell me something. Oh, man, I lost the game that way. So, yeah,
this
fun times.
Awfully specific situation.
Yeah. Yeah. These are great memories. I'm so glad we brought them back up.
And George, I don't know if you know this, but the reason why he's so upset is because Pat knew that he was trailing you in the all-time championship number, and that's what kept him behind.
That was going to be championship 277 or 177. Sorry.
Jacob, let me know who the ref is so I can call him and thank him.
I'll take it.
Hey, he was from Pat's own state.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
That's great. All right, so just to kind of close things out, guys, I just want to give you the chance to share some thoughts, whether it's about Finland or the history of flag football or anything you want to talk about. George, I want to give you the floor first.
Well, again, I thank you just for allowing us to be here and speaking about football. I mean, flag football for me is a passion that I've been doing for over 20 plus years now. And I could talk flag football all day because it's a great sport. I love, like I said before, where it's going, the level that it's going, the way it's growing from the youth to the women, from even universities getting, women's flag football in, hopefully Division 1 coming soon, to the men's, it's an Olympic sport now coming up, in 2028. So I'm excited, for just overall the countries and everyone talking about the game more, wanted to be a part of it. As you said, we had 32 countries in the men's side, which is the largest that we've ever had in IFAF tournaments. And other countries are inquiring about it now because they want to be a part of it. So just the game is in a great state right now. It's the way it is. And I just hope the people that are running these tournaments continue growing and taking advantage of this and making it, the great sport that it is and wanting people to come and be a part of it. So that's just something that hopefully we can still be a part of it, as coaches, as leaders, to guide other people, kids and everything to continue making this game, better and everyone loving it the way that they love American football, even soccer and all that. So I just hope it continues to grow the way it is. And, I just, it gets to like the level of other sports, that we see around on TV and everything.
Definitely. Pat, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going to continue with what George said. I think the game itself is growing so fast that in the '92 Olympic Dream Team in basketball, how they just dominated everybody and it just wasn't competitive that much with the teams that they played just because those guys weren't ready for that level. I think we're kind of at that point right now. Everybody's getting ramped up towards the Olympics, and all these teams, they weren't quite to our level just yet, but they're getting better fast, and the world's learning the game, and it's maybe the number one growing sport in the world right now, that or pickleball or whatever. But it's definitely in the conversation. But it is really changing fast, and everybody's learning the game, and everybody's getting better at the game, and it's really exciting because of the fact that we're involved in it, and we get to be people that are looked to and ask questions about what to do. We talked to Serbia and some other countries, and they just had general questions, just general curiosities about how can they get better and things that they could ask us, and we just, we're sharing and trying to get everybody better and help everybody however we can, obviously without, hampering our own game plan and causing us to lose a game or something silly, but at the same time trying to be, just ambassadors of the game. But really, I just love the way the direction of the game's going. So that's the biggest thing for me right now. I think it's in a positive state, and I think it's ramping up really, really fast going into the Olympics. And I hope that it, continues to be an Olympic sport beyond 28 into 32 and wherever else, wherever the games end up being in the future. And I hope it stays as a game. So I hope people like it, and I hope they watch it, and I hope they enjoy it. And I hope they change a few of the rules to where your standard NFL football watcher watches the Olympics and doesn't look at the game as a disgrace. I hope they look at flag as like, okay, this is great. I love this. This is like football. I can follow it. I understand it. And I hope it's similar enough to where everybody likes it. That loves football, they like flag football too. So that way it can grow on another side of the game as well.
Yeah, for sure. Jacob, how about you?
Man, I just, it was the short of it is it's to kind of, if you look at what Pat and George both just said, everything, it's fantastic to see, you look at the last couple of weeks with how involved and how tuned in everybody was to, the World Games. And I think it was even more incredible for me to see two like close friends of mine being at the forefront, kind of leading the pack and dominating. It was really great to see. And, I couldn't be more proud of these guys, and really appreciate all the conversations and everything we've had over the last couple of years. So that's my little note.
For sure, and I just it was enjoyable. I was very thankful that like IFAF TV had it, streaming. I was watching so many games and just being able to see not only what the players are doing internationally, but also the officials. That was the 50 officials from all over the globe, and they're all working together, working through language barriers, and everything like that. And so I was definitely just trying to understand, okay, why did they call this? Why was this a call? I had one game that I kind of tuned up clips of, and it was I think it was when you guys played Serbia, right?
Mhm.
There was a roughing the passer, and the official called it both ways. One drive against you guys, one drive against them, and I appreciated that. That hey, this is even playing field right here because he looked at it and he called it both ways. No one got special treatment or anything like that. So that was an example of something where I really appreciated what the officials were doing there. So I thank you guys so much for being a part of this, and I appreciate everyone that is going to listen and watch to this. This is on YouTube. To me, this is the best experience. You get to see our reactions. You get to hear us. You get to see me throw Jacob under the bus over and over again for an hour a week. And so this is where you should definitely check it out: is YouTube. Subscribe and like and follow. But we are everywhere. Everywhere that you listen to podcasts. You can just listen to the audio of it, or you can see all of the shortened clips of the weekly episode on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and Facebook and all of those places. Also, we have merch, and so if you want to get Jordan's ugly mug on a shirt or a coffee mug or something like a car magnet, anything like that, you can definitely do that as well. And so again, I thank you guys so much, and I wish you guys all a good night.
Thank you guys for the opportunity. Have a good night.
Appreciate it.
See you later.